Brad, the agenda will be right there too. If you can.
All right, everybody, mic's on. We'll start. We'll call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock. Before we have a motion to approve the agenda, it's been suggested we move a topic. I believe we're looking to move, where is it? 6-8F, Cascade Falls update.
Yep.
And we want to bring that to 6AA. Is that what we're looking to do? Okay, so before the, actually be 8AA, yeah, sorry. So if we can have a motion to approve the agenda with an amendment to move 8F to 8AA.
I'll make that motion to amend the agenda to 8F as instead of A and 8. What is the last one again? I crossed it out, which would be A instead of F.
Thanks, Van.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Van and a second by Marcia to approve the agenda as amended. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Carries. All right, number 3, we're going to take a look at the consent agenda. Does anybody see anything on the consent that they wish to discuss? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Thanks, Mike.
I'll second.
Thank you, Arvid. All right, we have a motion by Mike and a second by Arvid to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Carries. Number 4, public input and ideas. Limit 5 minutes per speaker. The floor is open if anybody wishes to speak. I'll remind everybody as you come up, make sure that the microphone on the dais is on and state your name and address. Hi.
Oh, is it green or red?
Should be green ring.
Red.
Hit the button in front that says push.
Thank you.
Okay, I hear I'm trainable. Thank you. I'm here, as Brad knows, we were at the Planning Commission meeting, and it's about the CPU for Ridge Road. I'm just 3 parcels down. I'm Adam Kerry Johnson, 405 Ridge Road. My concern is how it impacts my property. That there's no plan for a house that I am understanding, but there's a CPU on your books for tonight to look at to approve for stairs. And I'm here mostly, as I mentioned the other day, that my concern is, I heard the fire chief said that a fire down there would be his worst nightmare. And, so my ears perked up. So that's mostly why I'm here. So I understand it's a CPU. I don't understand what all you can do as far as the structuring of that, the conditions that you place upon the use of this. But our concern are fires down in that area. Our concern is there's no plan for a single-family home. And we understand that there's actually no paperwork, that Fran did not approve this. And the railroad did not approve it. There's no approval for the dock. I believe in second chances. So, but please, if you can make some conditions that are a little more stringent so that there will be a single-family home, there won't be reckless fires, all of those things are my concern, and the impact the value of my property. And that's why I'm here. So thank you for what you do. I don't know why I get nervous up here, you guys. And I don't recognize her on there without the uniform. Good to see you. So again, I don't really know our neighbor, but I wish this all goes well and believe in second chances. And I hope you guys can put some conditions on this because I'd really approve it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody.
Hi,
Molly
Holly.
Welsh,
405 Ridge Road. I'm here for a couple of things. One is the CUP application at 399 Ridge Road. And if it wasn't for the neighbors that brought up the fact that they did not have a permit to build the stairs that they've already built, they've already built the stairs that they're asking for a permit for. And they've also stated in their application that they have an approved permit from the DNR, and they do not. I looked at the website tonight, and it's still pending. There's still a lot of documentations that are coming in on July 7th they do not have a permit yet for a dock and a pier from the DNR. Also, if this should be, I think it should be denied tonight, just that they haven't provided documentation that they have the approval from the DNR, that they have actually approval from the Canadian Pacific or Canadian National Railroad to cross the railroad. I've spoken with representatives at Canadian National, and it's illegal to cross the railroad track. They asked me to send pictures. I said, oh, well, can I go down on the railroad tracks or cross the tracks to get pictures? And they said, no, absolutely not. So how is it possible that they're allowed to continue to regularly cross the railroad tracks to access the stairs that they're building to get down to the river? And they've also cleared an area for a campsite. They have wood storage, they've got a picnic table, they've got a campfire ring. It looks in all purposes that they intend to camp on the western side of the railroad tracks. And that's where the fire risk is. And if a fire were to start down in the forest, all of our homes on Ridge Road are at risk. The fire trucks cannot get down there with water. There's no water. There's no proper sanitation. They don't have an outhouse. They can't get an outhouse down there. So there's many things that preclude that say that this shouldn't be approved, at least tonight, until other conditions can be put on this. So I'll leave it at that. The other thing I have concerns about or want to speak to is the rock slide at the Cascade Falls. I would like to see the village put up some significant signage talking about the danger of the area. I think even just the danger caution tape, right, yellow tape, taping the area all off at the bottom of the stairs so people can't try to come up the stairs once they've went around. Maybe even signage at the trailhead that takes people up and around or down along past 243 that allows people to get down to the falls the other way. Also letting them know, please do not try to cross the stones or get on the stairway. It's dangerous. And then when we're ready to talk about solutions to that very precarious bluff edge, I would really like to see the village hire some and get consults from some very reputable engineers that know how to deal with unstable embankments and be able to shore them up in a really, professional way. I don't feel like we had very good consultation when the original solution was created. I think we did not do a good job, and that it needs to be considered in a much more thorough and professional way with multiple inputs from professionals. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak? All right, seeing none, then we'll move on. We'll close the public input and move to staff reports, number 5. So first up, Public Works.
Evening, everyone. Not used to being first. My apologies. Obviously, we dealt with a tremendous amount of water flow in the month of June, which, like the rest of the spring of 24 here, we had to concentrate on our stormwater systems. On top of that, we've been working to control the vegetation on our streets and boulevards. Things have completely blown up, constantly having to remove trees, branches, a lot of sagging, getting all of our vision triangles for all of our streets opened up. Miles of right of way have also been completed. We're looking at hopefully getting the rest of the 20% done and completed in the month of July. Things are so wet, our machinery is just sinking at this time. The ditches are causing extra corrosion issues by sinking into the ground and creating ruts along our stormwater pathways. Unfortunately, we lost our street sweeper in the month of June. We're looking at a 30-day potential timeline for repair, anywhere from $6,000 to $8,000. We're trying to do everything we can internally to prep the sweeper services to come and repair. So we're trying to cut that price down by internally removing our conveyor system and taking it apart to try and save on his hourly charge. So it's going to take the entire conveyor system. Overall, our conveyor system guides were just basically rotted. They rusted right out, fell right out of the bottom of the machine, essentially. It is a one-part system. So our entire conveyor system that grabs everything, brings it up into the hopper, is essentially disintegrated to the point where it's no longer usable. So we're going to remove it. He's going to take it to St. Paul, rebuild it, and then we're going to help to reinstall to try to cut down on the prices. So we look forward to getting that back. Speaking with Devin, of course, we know that we have a timeline of like 2026 with our current CIP. We have some funding for, a desperately needed street sweeper that's encroaching 30 years old. So we'll look forward to new ones. We've already had a couple demo units here. I look forward to writing a grant next year, working with the St. Croix Watershed District and trying to drum up extra funding to go on top of our CIP so we don't have to potentially settle for a used one. New ones we're looking in between 300 and 350,000. We're of course short that in our current CIP, and we understand we don't need a beautiful brand new machine. However, if we can get a grant or some assistance, I'm going to work very hard at that next year going into 26 to line us in. On top of that, watering of flowers, maintenance. Watering maintenance to potted flowers. We were able to get our Highway 243 sign looking better. Ensuring our sidewalks downtown remain litter-free. Spraying of weeds throughout the downtown. Making some beautification efforts to our parks. As I mentioned, in our park section, we took home 4 full dump truck loads of overgrowth and brush just out of Miller Pond. So there's actually a great sight line there. We've been working very hard on ensuring that our dam is exercised appropriately and also pulling out logs and debris to make sure everything's flows properly so we don't have another potential incident. We're also looking at dredging this year of Mill Pond. We try to do it biannually, so we get an excavator in there, take a lot of the extra material, and get it cleaned out appropriately so we keep it in good working order and within DNR MISDOT compliance. A lot of internal painting projects as well with buildings, doors, bathrooms, things like that, trying to keep things looking nice. From a building maintenance standpoint, doors, locks, and windows we replaced internally in preparation for the Oakley Park building to be painted. So we look forward. We finally found we got some good quotes in. We came out with that budgeted number of 10,000, just over 8 to have everything painted and done. So the crew has already been here. They power washed and prepped the building. So we look forward to paint possibly this week. On top of that, just working on CIP items, getting painting lined up, asphalt lined up, asphalt replacement this year, sidewalk replacement, and beyond. Any questions?
I just have one. I ran into a concerned citizen, I think yesterday. Was their bull thistle intentionally planted out by the hospital area out there along 35, do you know? Or was this like something that supposed to get some weather, I suppose? We need rain. So if it's bull thistle, is there something you guys are able to do with that?
If it's within our property and we can enforce the code, absolutely. There's times, I mean, Canadian thistle and bull thistle sort of run rampant
Yeah,
throughout more of the rural areas, not so much right in urban downtown, but, yeah, I mean, we treat it all the time internally, and if it's within our scope or within our right of way, we absolutely treat it.
all right, thanks.
Yeah, if the concerned resident wishes to reach out and pinpoint the location, I know other individuals on Ridge Road have reached out in the past and
Oh, okay, I didn't know. I've driven by it and I see it. I thought they looked really nice. I thought it was part of the natural, but apparently not.
it spreads,
I want to check it out.
it spreads badly.
I've learned a lot about bull thistle. So,
Todd, do goats eat that thistle?
I'm sorry?
Do goats eat that thistle?
Yeah,
Eat everything.
want goats. We can get goats.
oh, it's,
Somerset just did goats in the park, so it's a way of getting rid of a lot of the thistle and stuff that's hard to get rid of.
yeah, well, yeah, buckthorn, I think they like too.
I've crunched those numbers. It would be appropriate or better if we just owned our own goats. The amount of property we have.
I noticed the goats up north at the acreage a lot.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, if they have them, maybe, you know,
We could put them in there and feed them for 5 years in Schilberg, that 80 acres and
Oh,
the amount
yeah.
of,
I think we got other things to do besides
agree.
raise
I agree.
goats.
it is an
Nate's
option.
here.
Good one.
Wow.
Thanks,
I
Todd.
couldn't help. Okay.
Any other questions?
Good work, great work, Todd. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow. That's great. Thank you, Todd. All right, next up, utilities.
Yeah, Rick couldn't make it tonight. He wanted me to tell you that, well, I want to say they're doing tremendous work on the lead and copper testing. They've almost completed the whole village already. I know there are some cities and villages that haven't even started this yet, and it's due in October. So they're way ahead of the game on this one. So they've been working really hard on the lead and copper. It was a federal mandate handed down to the states to handle, so each state is doing it separately. But these have reported the DNR to find out what service lines are to the house are copper, lead, or plastic, or whatever, or galvanized steel, whatever it might be. They did read meters this past month. They have switched to e-billing authorization, which allows utility bills to be sent by email. So people who opt into this will no longer receive a paper copy. So that's one thing that we started doing this past month. The new pickup trucks finally arrived. There are two 2011s and one 2008 were replaced, and they're going into a vehicle rotation now. So that's actually going to be saving the village money in the long run by having a vehicle rotation actually set every 3 to 5 years for these trucks. Sewer wise, we got a clean bill of health from the DNR for our wastewater treatment plant. I didn't realize that they scored our GPA system, so we have a 392 out of 4. So that's a very good score for the treatment plant. And they're still waiting to hear for approval for the clean water loan for their upcoming project at the water tower. So that's the rundown with Rick.
All right, thanks, Devin. Okay, next up, library.
Good evening, everyone.
Ann?
So June has been a really busy month at the library. I started off the month preparing for the garage sale of surplus library items, with the sale itself happening on Saturday, June 8th in this room. If you made it here, it was pretty packed. By clearing out the offsite storage unit, we will be able to save almost $1,000 a year. On June 7th, I attended the Lake Superior Library Symposium, which is a one-day symposium at the Catherine A. Martin Library on the UMD campus. While there, I attended 3 different sessions, as well as the keynote address, which was given by Tess Wilson of the Library Freedom Project and was titled Intellectual Freedom in Crisis Times, Defending Library Values. I also spent quite a bit of time during the month writing the final report for our library's Transforming Communities grant. So during the month of June, we circulated 4,588 items. We had 117 computer uses. 1,390 ebook checkouts, and we had 53 new patrons. So during the month, we added 155 new items to our shelves. And at the end of June, I do like to just kind of take stock of how many donations we have added to our collection. So this year, so far, we have added 164 items from the donations, and they were valued at over $3,000. So those donations are significant to our collections. So for our events and activities, summer months are definitely our busiest months for programming. And we kicked off the 2024 Summer Learning Program on June 1st with a visit from the St. Croix Valley Hobby Farm animals and the opportunity for families to sign up for the summer reading program. And approximately 190 people attended the kickoff event. So in addition to the weekly story times, Michelle has added a weekly summer learning program event, which happens every Thursday afternoon. These events are proving popular with anywhere from 40 to 70 people attending the programs. I've added a lunch with the librarian program where people are invited to bring their lunch and we sit out on the terrace because I would like to see that space used more and just talk any kind of library subject that you want to talk about. So please come. Next Monday is the next one. So I'd love to see you there. Get Lit and the WMPL book discussion and book bite visits to Evergreen and Millside apartments also happened during June. We also hosted the Osceola School District Summer School Class Adventures in Reading for weekly visits and checkout time. And the OIS Give Back class also visited to learn about why a library is important to a community. And they brought us bookmarks that they had created for the library patrons. And we currently have an artist on our gallery wall. So tomorrow afternoon from 4 to 6, you can come for the meet and greet for Melody Needham. She's a local artist that has her beautiful watercolors on the wall. In terms of facilities and staff, our staff has done just a fantastic job with the increase in library visits during the month. So, and just a couple of upcoming things in addition to the artist meet and greet tomorrow. Our Thursday afternoon events will be the 11th, 18th, and 25th. We're hoping to take the book bike to the farmers market on this Friday, and Monday the lunch with the librarian. And then we're also going to try doing a young adult adventures with food program. So if you know any kind of 12 to 18-year-olds that would be interested in coming and learning how to make spring rolls, send them our way. Any questions? All right, thanks.
Thanks, Ann.
Thank you, Ann.
Okay, next up, fire.
Howdy, everyone. Runs, we had just 7 runs. It was kind of a slow month this last month. 5 in the village of Osceola, 2 in the town of Farmington. Run breakdown was 1 smell of gas, 4 medical lift assists, and just 1 alarm. Training, we did we took a nice tour of Standing Cedars. Fire department went down with 4-wheelers, and Standing Cedars representatives took us through all the trailheads from here to, well, it was way down almost to the county line. And in case we ever have a rescue down in the area of the old Boy Scout camp and that, we know exactly where to go. The traffic down there, walking traffic is starting to get a lot more year after year, so we wanted to kind of tour that. The training we did last night was a water shuttle and pump operations right on the taxiway of the airport. I have to, every year for the FAA, I have to do a incident, like an airplane crash or some kind of an incident, and then we have to do pump and water shoveling. And so we did that last night. Worked out real well. We did it down in the K hangars down on the west end of the north side of the airport. So it worked out really well. Everything went good. Other than that, all our airport hangars inspections are done. We are going to do a re-inspection of everybody that had gas meters and exhaust pipes out the drip side of the hangars. So we'll be doing that on July 31st. And I have to try to contact everybody that, a lot of them are complying. There's about 25 or 26 of them that needed to change their stuff. And then the airport completion is going to be last week of July or the first part of August. And then Fearless will be going down and pick it up and then doing training down there for a couple days. So, any questions?
I just got one. During the training you're having in the parking lot, I would say you're doing extra, any training that involves between you and the recycling and the drop-off bins. And are you guys, is there any problem going on up there with maybe some firemen being in danger a little bit of maybe traffic flying
Actually,
through
quite
there?
a bit. We have definitely had people drive right over and through our cones when we're doing our EVOC training.
That's nice.
Which one you're doing your EVOC training, you're timed on doing a whole course and then being able to back in while these people are driving right through the cones and right back to the bins, so.
You have to extricate yourself one of these days.
Or them, they run into a truck, so, yeah. And then we've had some trouble with them driving by the fire hall at fairly high speeds, not paying attention, so.
So have you got any plans on changing things around, or is there something that,
I've asked Todd and Devin both, I've talked both of them about removing them, putting them someplace else, because, we've even had trouble where we've been going out on fire calls and people just sailing right on in and right on back. They're so focused on the bins.
it's worse than the old spot you were before?
Kinda, yeah. It's just a different circumstance.
All right. Well, keep working at it and,
Yeah.
see what happens.
Try to find a new place for the bins to go, because
Yeah. Are you able to shut down the parking lot for a while or when you're in training?
when I'm training, yeah, we do it with cones and they drive right over them. So,
Okay, are we able to shut down the entire parking lot? Like at the choke point, the driveway, the entrance? Or
that's where we shut it off and then put cones across, and they drive right over them, right back to the bin, so.
Well, the fire department can just buy 3 or 4 barricades and keep them on site, so whenever they're training, you can just pop them up and they can't.
Yeah, we could.
close, but
We could do that, I mean, if we had to. I'd rather move the bins because, like I said, when we're leaving for fires, it's not good when cars are flying in and out and not paying attention, so.
To try to work on something.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
Paul, I'd like to say thank you to you and your crew for your response to our little incident last week. You guys did a great job.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks, Paul. All right, next up, police.
Hi, everyone.
AJ?
All right, so June, we generated 372 calls for service and compiled 63 incident and traffic crash reports. We made 2 arrests and 1 emergency hold in June. We initiated 55 traffic stops and issued 35 municipal citations, including a reckless driving citation and no direct seller without permit citation. St. Croix Falls, per our agreement with them, they came down and generated 21 calls for service inside the village and made 2 criminal referrals under the agreement. Another news, we have our new squad car is up and running, the 2024 Ford Interceptor. We just got that back from our vendor and it's been awesome so far. We're still waiting on a radio, but that should be here, guessing probably within a month or so. Otherwise, on that note, we were finally able to diagnose our draw issue on our 2021 squad car. That's something that's, I'm sure Ron can attest, has plagued that one for a couple of years. And we took it to a third-party vendor who was able to diagnose and fix the issue for us. So that's been a reliable vehicle on the road now as well. So keeping on the topic of police cars, our 2019 squad car was destroyed during one of the storms. And we were able to collect our insurance claim on that. Luckily, the whole thing had been downfitted, so it was just a raw car that was getting prepped for sales through the surplus website. So really couldn't have been a better situation. So other than that, we assisted the Department of Revenue with executing a search warrant on a property within the village. This was one of 6 search warrants which were executed simultaneously through a Department of Revenue investigation, and that went about as smooth as could be. So, otherwise, we completed our spring quarterly firearms shoot. We invited the St. Croix Falls PD to attend, and we had several officers accompany us. That training went really well as well. So, any questions?
I just have one. You said something about a direct seller's permit. Is that a door-to-door type thing?
Yeah.
This person had never applied for any permit. I mean, was there past history or?
No, whenever we see these, generally it's a company that'll pretty much just bomb an area with salespeople, and they'll hit as many houses as they can within a couple hours, say, and get as many orders done and then move on. So luckily we had an officer working during that time and saw a couple different people and was able to track one down. And whenever you talk with one of these salesmen, generally they don't really have much information on the company. They just have a phone number for like their manager, and we usually cite either the business or that individual with the no direct sellers permit. So, because door-to-door salespeople are required to get a permit before operating in the village.
Yeah. That's really good.
Yeah, so it's one of those oddball citations that we get on occasion.
Well, when they can't produce a business card or anything and then no further identification, you're in trouble.
Yeah, well, and the problem is too with these companies, they're all like fly-by-night. Oftentimes you're gonna get not the product you were shown or which was demonstrated, or you just get your information.
Which
stolen.
leads me to this actually happened to us. I'm not the one that reported this, but it was a question that I wanted to ask, and of course it was already addressed. They issued the citation. So this company comes in and they're trying to sell bug. They're going to spray your house for bugs. They're going to take care of everything. Pretty hefty contracts with a lot of money down.
Sure.
Now, if that happens, this is good documentation for the village to have. So I don't know how many people bought into it, but is it the product already started? What happens if they start applying the material to the people who bought it? And how does that work when they come back into the village and they start to distribute some of the materials that they had said they would?
Well, as far as my understanding is, it's not illegal to follow through with an agreement that you have made with a private party. It's just the soliciting and selling. So, I mean, if they were to come and make good on their arrangement with that party, I don't think that we would really take any enforcement action at that point. It's just the cold calling and door-to-door tactics that they use. They need to get a permit beforehand so residents know who they're dealing with, essentially.
Okay.
I'm glad to see a ticket was written too, because they were also informing residents that they did have a permit.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
There's zero tolerance for that.
Yeah.
Just to give AJ kudos on the squad car with the draw that was going on. That's been going on for a couple of years, and then I can only draw not Sully Van, but the conclusion of a cricket in your room. You hear a cricket, you don't know where it's coming from. AJ dealt with that for a good 2 years.
Yeah.
Nonstop, drove him nuts. Everywhere he brought dealerships, they said, "There's no problem here. We want to charge you." He's like, "No, you're not." He was relentless on it and finally figured it out. So kudos to that.
That's good.
Thanks.
That's it for me.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, AJ. Okay, next up, building inspection and administration.
Yes, so the building permits was a relatively slow month. There was no new building other than a shed and some improvements on some properties. I do apologize for not having the 6-month comparison I just ran out of time the last day and a half. There was a lot of follow through and stuff that I missed in the last month, so I do apologize for that. For the year, we're still at 5 new homes. So I know we're behind the last 2 years in new homes, just to give you kind of a forecast of where we've been. So we're a little slow on the new home builds for the permits. Administration, we should have an audit report for you by the end of the month, if not early August. I was in talks with our auditors today on that, making sure that they're still working on it. Not as fast as we have liked, but much faster than the past 2 years. So we're looking forward to that. And that's going to help us much better define where our cash flows are and what our budget can look like for next year as we start our budget process this month. So that is all trending in the right direction. I want to thank staff for working tirelessly and hard for the last month in and out of the office. So they did it great, and it was easy stepping back into it yesterday. I'm looking at the possibility of setting up a new TID for development in the south side of town. There'll be more information coming in the near future on that, but that is something that we're looking at starting the process here in the next month or so of a new TID district. The reason why you want to create a new TID district is to maximize the collections on these larger developments that might happen, to increase the length of it and increase our collections to the improvements that we need for these type of projects. So, yeah, hitting the ground running again. There's a lot of little stuff to get through, but staff has done a great job in the last month. So that's my report.
Anybody have anything for Devin? Okay, thanks. All right, we're gonna move on to Chamber of Commerce and Main Street.
Good evening, everybody. June was the kickoff to the summer season, so started with Rhubarb Fest weekend. Saw a lot of great foot traffic for the train and for the event itself, and we even had a handful of businesses report increased sales over last year, so that's always great to hear. And then on June 13th, the Chamber and Main Street came together to hold Celebrate Osceola. 200 community members went to Croyview Farms and celebrated 6 different awards. Large Business of the Year went to J&S General Contracting. Small Business of the Year went to Croyview Farm. Nonprofit of the Year went to the Osceola Fair Board. Educator of the Year went to Becky Stiles. Volunteer of the Year went to Jen Rudd. Legacy Award went to Nancy Beck. And this year, the Chamber Board decided to award the Above and Beyond Award to the Osceola Sun. So it was a great event. We were happy with the turnout. And then also, June is our time for our annual accreditation with the state program. So we were accredited again. We were one of 35 Main Street communities in the state of Wisconsin. And we were also a 2024 Main Street America affiliate. So that's with the national program, and those benefits are carried out through the state. So networking or other support, we'll be able to take advantage of those for the next year coming forward. And hopefully soon, the American Pie location will be home to Guac and Roll. The second location, they have their first location in Richmond, and they're expanding up here. Think of burritos, bowls, nachos, that sort of thing. So they're in the beginning stages of getting that space ready. So another restaurant, a different restaurant. So we're just excited to have another option for downtown. Any questions?
And they have a location in New Richmond if you want to try it.
Yes, you can go down and check it out, but they'll be here hopefully before the end of the summer. Any questions? Nope. Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Wow.
Okay, so that completes staff reports and updates. Now we'll move into item 6 of the agenda, which is our public hearing.
No, it'd be the stairs.
We're gonna do that at 8.
Oh, okay.
Public hearing portion of the meeting to hear and take action to the resolution to discontinue the undeveloped and unpaved alley located between lots 2 and 3 and lots 10 and 11, block 1 of plat of Staples Edition in the village of Osceola. So I know that Devin is going to explain what this is for us.
So currently, as you can see on the picture on the TV, there is a section of alley that was never vacated by the city. It is landlocked, is inaccessible. Frankly, we should not have that as village property. That should be vacated and turned over half to each property owner that abuts it. one of the problems facing this property is there's currently dead trees on the property. So one of the things that we'd be looking for, any motion or recommendation that tonight that I would have would be that we work with the property owners to remove those trees. Whether we split it in third, have some type of agreement in place to remove those trees. The reason we're going the vacation route rather than last year we're looking at the land sale route is this way it's cleaner, quicker, and easier and cheaper. So this is why we're going to the vacation of the alley rather than the other routes that we looked at. But I would definitely say that we work out some type of agreement with the homeowners for the removal of the trees. In the, there's already, one of the properties already has a fence on our property as is. That never should have been allowed in the first place, but then have turned over to the owners that will all be their property in the end. So I guess I'll take any questions that you have, unless you want to open up the hearing first or the comment section.
Are the homeowners amenable to a three-way split on tree removal?
Yes.
Why?
Do we have a dead tree removal ordinance? Is there a mandate that they have to be taken down?
It would be, well, in terms of.
So we don't have an ordinance or anything?
Well, I don't know off the top of my head on the dead tree ordinance, but,
They would fall under nuisance property.
So like dead vegetation?
I think dead trees is one of the
Sure, okay.
points there.
I think the bigger concern was just risk if they were to
I'm
fall.
not opposed to it. I just want to follow, if we have a rule, let's follow the rule. And that's, I think Andrew brought up a good point. There is under nuisance, there is things about vegetation and stuff, so that's
Urban forestry code as well.
sure.
Angela, did I miss
It helps
anything
substantiate the
regarding-
argument later, so.
Okay.
So we're looking at no charge for this lot, right?
No,
For them to split it, just a
it gets split right down the middle. And the county handles that and we give them the definition. It's the cleanest, easiest way to do this whole thing.
so why would the village incur any kind of time or expense in getting rid of any trees the property owners may want or may not want, or that's
Well,
on them? Like,
If there's an ordinance that says they need to be taken care of and the village owns it,
it depends on how the ordinance exactly
well,
reads.
it's,
mainly.
it sounds like urban forestry and nuisance vegetation potentially.
Well, a tree is not a nuisance vegetation.
Okay, that's my question. Is there an ordinance that would support that we need to follow the same rules we ask our property owners to follow? And if there is, then we should deal with it.
Oh, what do you got, Todd?
So we do have one. We noticed the property in its current use belonging to us. Both homeowners were using the property. From fences to clotheslines to patios, bricks, and beyond. So they've treated the property as their own for some time. So there was an approach by one of the owners that wanted to procure the property. So one of the things is I got 2 quotes for taking down the trees for us to handle. They came in at close to
Between $4,000 and $6,000.
between $4,000 and $6,000. There were $300 difference in the 2 quotes. So sort of the proposal is, okay, so you can sell you the land for $1 and you deal with the trees appropriately, or if you have to take care of the trees, that is going to come with the cost of the sale of the land. So somewhere it became rather convoluted. There wasn't a full agreement. I think Devin, you might be able to.
Yeah, well, there was a proposal and a counter proposal and no agreement in place. It happened last year at the meeting. We're trying to find a way to work around it. Because the city has never has paid closing costs or recording fees. They wanted the homeowners to pay for that. That was the deal breaker at the time. So I've been trying to find a way to kind of circumvent that and realizing that, it's indeed an alley, vacation of the alley goes around a lot of those fees that we would have incurred from a sale.
Sure. You said there's a fence on it?
That's correct. Given both landowners or residents encroaching on both sides, from.
Any idea how long the fence has been there?
It looks like for a considerable amount of time. This isn't the only place within the village as well in that area. So I think It's
Is it an
probably-
adverse possession
I
thing
was
where it's
just
been
gonna
there
say, yeah.
20 years uncontested?
I wouldn't say it's been there that long. I don't know if it's 2026 or something for a fence like that, but again, patio blocks, things like that. That's why I think the approach by the Village of Osceola to do it in the most beneficial manner really for the resident means they're currently using it instead of making them, we could pay the $4,000 to $6,000 to have the trees removed and tear down the fence and move their patios and beyond.
Well, in theory, they'd be on the hook to move the fence and
Correct.
patio and things. So there's some value on both sides.
Absolutely. But we thought that at the time, given their interest in gaining that space to add to their homes, to their lots, I think given the price and the way it was kind of presented, it would have been a rather good deal for the residents.
There's other alleys that are like this around the village, but I plan to deal with those at a future date. This one is important because of the trees.
So the discussion last year fell apart and there's a new one to just vacate this.
Mhm.
And somebody's looking for us to decide what to do with the tree at this point.
Well, and then, yeah, for the public hearing tonight is for the public the opportunity to give their speak, and then we answer their questions afterwards too.
Sorry, I got ahead of myself.
It's fine. So the public hearing is open, so if anybody wishes to speak, they may. Just need your name and address.
Certainly, I'm Jeff Rapp, 718 Cascade Street. And I was one to begin some of this conversation a year or so ago, perhaps even a little bit longer. And we are interested in the proposal as being presented tonight, but I would want to know more about how and what would be done in removal of trees. The presentation that I offered a year ago included us taking trees out on our own and being able to do that. If a three-way would be splitting that $4,000 to $6,000 expense, that doesn't seem like what I would be interested in doing at this time. To be able to do it ourselves would be much less expensive, and I'd be able to accomplish that as a landowner. But if it's going to involve that additional expense, we'd want to talk about that, especially since currently it is, as our trustee mentioned here, the villages. That's their responsibility right now. And so I wouldn't want to take on something that was actually the village's responsibility. Thank you.
Thanks. Anybody else wish to speak? Okay, seeing nobody else, we will close the public hearing portion.
Did you want to speak?
We can leave it open.
Saw your hand go up, so I don't want
Nope, that's fine.
I was thinking about it. He did a pretty good job. The other thing I looked at, I'm Alan Barrett, 711 Chieftain Street, other side of the property there.
Got it.
What you might be missing with the trees, like we're talking tall trees and they're dead. We had one fall back in like February. It was over a weekend. I think it was a long weekend. I had to clean it up. It wasn't my tree, wasn't my problem. It was dead when I bought the place, and I had to clean it up. There's other trees that are leaning towards my house, towards people's garages. That tree that fell almost hit someone's garage. There's a tree leaning, big tree that's going to hit his house. With all the rain and the storms we've gotten, I'm surprised we haven't seen another one fall. So it would behoove someone to take care of that before someone has to pay to fix someone's house.
Well, it's a hazard.
It's why,
Thanks.
like I said, why
All
expedite.
right,
this
we gonna
one
close
instead
the
of-
public hearing
Yep.
first?
Yep.
Anybody else wish to speak? Okay, we'll close the public hearing. Now we can discuss this topic.
Yeah,
Sorry,
that's-
go ahead.
Yeah, it's a hazard, and that's why we're put this one in front of the list when we have other alleys that's only be vacated, because we see this as something that needs to be moved to the front.
So the one homeowner has expressed interest in taking care of himself. Did the other homeowner also? The tree wise?
I think we'd have to talk about that.
I'm not looking for a definitive answer. I'm just, if you already talked about it, great. If you don't, then.
It sounds kind of dangerous to me. These trees are quite dead. They're brittle. They're not gonna land exactly how you think they are. They're unpredictable. Utilities has a certain obligation to, make sure that their lines and so forth aren't in danger of having trees fall on them, so they trim every year. Well, if you have that situation with your homes and your homes and property are in danger, or people just standing there and having our tree fall on you, that's on municipal property, that's could be quite a slippery slope. So me personally, my opinion is we probably better correct the danger first. And then I'm not comfortable with this being out in public, knowing that parts of our trees that are dead are falling on properties and homes. So that's just my opinion.
I guess to summarize where I was going with it too, is I think each party, all three parties probably have some liability in here. I don't know that anybody's completely clear, but I think the village needs to uphold the same rules that we follow with everybody else. But I would also say that if somebody's got a fence, just like we dealt with the retaining wall a few weeks ago, that's on property that's not supposed to be there, that needs to be dealt with the same way also. So again, there's liability on possibly all three parties.
Yeah, I'm of the opinion that whatever structures might be sitting on village property could be ignored if the owners are willing to allow the abatement to occur. And it sounds like there's some level of agreement there. At least one of them is looking to remove the trees on their own and not share expense. And I can understand that if you have a network that you can work through to get that done, it might be a lot less expensive. So, because Mike's right, we could theoretically take action to remedy the situation of all issues, not just the trees, but the other things that are infringing on the village property too. So rather than make it a mess, just abate the property and let the new owners of the property deal with it how they see fit.
Well, obviously it'll come back to us on the tax revenue, which is micro.
It's not gonna, yeah, it's gonna be no impact whatsoever.
Sounds like a hot commodity to have that alley though.
Well, extra, 8 feet they get?
It's got a fence, it's got a patio, it's got a clothesline.
You could put a boat in there, crossway. So, but the idea of is if we've got this vacant land sitting around, we're supposed to be doing something with that too, that's non-usable.
Well, I'm guessing we're gonna run into this, as Devin mentioned, there's gonna be other alleys.
Stuff going around.
We probably should try to follow a very reasonable rule and not,
clean up the lines a little bit and get stuff taken care of.
keep it on the up and up.
I agree with Brad's approach as far as abatement, and if they want to take care of the issue, I probably wouldn't support any issue where the village pays $4,000 to $6,000 and just gives the land away for free. If the village pays that to abate, to fix the issue, then the land stays until those costs are reimbursed. The village would have to do either way, but the land is being used as if it's their own already. So I wouldn't support paying taxpayer dollars to simply give the property away. I know we're not talking about a huge lot.
Yeah. Well, if we did, I'd expect they'd vacate the property because it's not theirs.
Right.
Yeah. So just to ask a question, Devin, are we just looking forward to, if we made a motion to approve this, it essentially goes there and there's no more discussion on costs?
You can go a multitude of ways in that. Like I said, you can allow me to work with the landowners and try to find a valuable solution for the tree removal. Give me a potential not to exceed amount, or say work with the owners to, because it's that number is still for my discretionary spending amount. So either the motion so as vague as work with the owners to remove the trees, or just say we approve the vacation of the alley as is. That's another option. My opinion would be that we do have a little bit of liability in this being our property with our trees currently. So having a little work way with the owners might be something too that we could do to get this smooth and figured out.
I think all of those statements are implied, especially considering that the entire cost here already falls within his level of discretionary spending. So I wouldn't think that we would need to add any additional considerations to this. It's literally just a choice to vacate the property.
It seems to me like vacating it kind of makes a lot of sense to me from a process perspective, particularly if there are other situations like this in the village. We have no use for it, so vacating it makes a lot of sense. And if there's a willingness on the part of the owners to deal with the tree problem, then I think that we let them do that after we vacated it. And it kind of addresses the fact that they have been using it and maybe they weren't supposed to be. But I don't think we need to get overly complicated with it. I think we just vacate it and let them deal with the trees and recognize that it was smart to ask about the code. I pulled up and read it, and yeah, we're responsible for dealing with dead trees on our property, no doubt.
Absolutely.
And so in recognition of the fact that we haven't, I think giving them the land and saying, okay, here you go, it's yours now.
And publicly stating that we'll be reasonable in helping.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
like
what he's done.
I think that that's the cleanest way to go. And I don't know that it needs to be any more complicated than that.
I would make a motion that we approve this resolution.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion by Mike and a second by Van to approve resolution 2410 to vacate the alley. Any discussion on the motion on the floor? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Carries. Thank you for the productive discussion, everybody.
And if you guys can call me or stop by my office sometime tomorrow afternoon, I'm free, okay?
Okay, we'll move on to item number 8. So as amended, we will discuss the Cascade Falls update first.
Yeah, Todd's here, Angela's here. We can answer any questions that you might have. The update that we got today from the insurance company was they denied our claim for the repairing of the stairs that were affected by the landslide there. While that is bad news, however, it can be good news. We can now go after county and state disaster dollars. So my first action tomorrow is to call the county and the state and see what the process is now to go after those funds because of the 5 inches of rain we received on the 18th that caused this.
Yeah, they should have already been in touch with you.
Yeah, I've been in touch with them. We couldn't proceed until we got a ruling from the insurance company.
Right.
So that was the whole hold on everything, waiting until I figured out what the insurance company was going to say before I proceed with
Yeah,
all.
I've been in communication with both state level and county level emergency, so they should have already reached out to you.
Yep.
I got a few questions just because people have asked me and I wasn't part of one of the other meetings. I was delayed. The original design for the demo, I'm guessing, Angela, you must have issued a RFP or something to get that demo. What was the retaining wall narrative design scope?
The demo, it was an emergency demo, so we did a performance spec so that it would be done quickly. We did look at options of doing piling, retaining walls, stepping down. That was going to be over $1 million. That was not in the budget. We wanted to get that building down as quickly as possible. We did have a detail in there that the rock would be placed on a 2-to-1 slope. It was greater than that, obviously. And so that's where we're at. I mean, that's where we've had significant rain. And yeah, it's the kind of a worst of all.
So you're saying on the 2-to-1 slope, the slope was greater?
Greater than that. So it's almost a 1-to-1 slope, correct?
Sure. And that was just a condition of essentially, that doesn't sound like an error
slope.
on the contractor. That was more of a condition issue.
Yep,
Right.
exactly. That was the existing slope. We can definitely design something that has piling, step-down retaining walls, but as I said, that was over $1 million. And, we can make it, we can
I
make
get
it
it.
work. Unfortunately, that's where,
I'm asking some leading questions.
nope, go ahead.
Because there's a lot of people that have been asking and
Yep.
there's a lot of scuttle. So, the other thing my own interest is there any issue with the road, the highway?
Not that I'm aware of, but I have not been out to see if there's any
It-
undermining or anything
Sure.
that has happened, but I don't believe so.
I don't know if it was ever researched, but I've always thought that the road and the traffic contributed to a lot of the failure of that building and maybe even the water line. And I've always been disappointed that maybe DOT had never been contacted. Is there any reason we shouldn't be asking them to at least review it?
We could definitely ask them to review it. I
I'd
don't
hate to-
know if
I
that
hate to own a
was,
situation and then have it get worse yet again
right,
and not having